think it's horrible because these are neighborhood schools. A lot of kids walk to school. If they close the schools down, where are the kids going to go? How are their parents going to get them to schools further away from home? Or if they privatize schools, how are they going to pay for it? A lot of these kids are low income. That's going to force these children out here on the streets. And I don't want to see any of Detroit public schools close. My elementary school is one of the ones that got cut last year, and the building looks like it's about 200 years old because they've vandalized it and everything. I don't want to see that happen anymore.
It couldn't be any easier than this. Oh wow. Full gym.
What's up, guys? My name is Jake, and welcome to this lovely abandoned Detroit high school on July 4th. Much like our other July 4th video, also in an abandoned high school in Detroit, we did this a little earlier in the day, and I was reviewing the footage a few days ago, and I just wanted to share it with you guys on this channel. So in this video, I want to give a bit more of an in-depth commentary, kind of explaining what it was like to experience this, a bit more of the history behind it, and my overall thoughts on just this very large, modern, abandoned high school. And as you can see at the beginning of this video, there was a lot of protests to keep this place open. It was a very popular local high school, but it was also very notorious for its crime and heinous events, which I'll talk about a little later in this video. But one thing I want to emphasize in the beginning of this is its sheer magnitude. This building is absolutely enormous. It's not enormous at the amount of classrooms or anything, but just its footprint in its location is enormous. Throughout the entire time, I was very confused as to where I was. For most of this video, actually, because we went with Dan, Bell, and Brennan from Uncharted Travel, I was split apart from them for the majority of this exploration. So for about an hour and a half, maybe two, I was on my own trying to figure out where the hell I was in this building. And because there were so many courtyards, which I'll explain a little later, it was very, very hard to find your bearings in this building. So this school actually began all the way back in the 1950s when Detroit's East population was absolutely exploding. About 300,000 new students needed to be enrolled into new schools, and a bunch of new schools in that area were beginning to be built, including this one. This school actually started a pretty lengthy construction period throughout the 1960s. This went through many money issues, various strikes, which all spanned through 1961 to 1965. When the school finally opened at the cost of $40 million.
Benches for the kids to sit in. Benches all along. I believe this was the auditorium. Here. Jesus Christ. Oh wow. I think that's ceiling. Oh yeah, look at the geometric ceiling tiles up there. That's so cool.
So one of the larger problems that I encountered throughout this building, throughout this exploration, was the sheer size of this structure. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this building is enormous. As you can see, right in this hallway, this concourse here, there are trees pouring in. And while it's absolutely beautiful, it's hard to figure out what is a hallway and what is a courtyard. Since there's so many courtyards in this building, it's hard to figure out where you are and adjacent to other landmarks in the building. So as you can see in this overhead aerial view, there are several courtyards throughout the building, and there's also intense foliage on the sides of the structure. So like I said, it's very hard to tell what is a courtyard and what's just the outside. I'm also pretty good at mapping out a building just by walking around in it. But because everything looks so similar, and because there's just random walls where doors used to be and gates blocking hallway access, it's so hard to envision a map of this building just by walking around in it, because it's so bizarrely laid out and everything looks the same, and it's hard for you to tell which courtyard is which and what's actually a courtyard and what's actually the outdoors. So throughout this whole time of me walking around in this building documenting it, it started to dawn on me, and also gave me a bit of a fear, an overlaying fear that if I can't find my way out of this building, if I encounter someone that doesn't want me in here, it's not going to go well for me. And that fear stuck with me throughout this whole time, and it's not a great feeling.
Ooh, these murals.
Now, unfortunately, by the 1970s, only about 10 years after the school opened, this facility had already grown a very notorious reputation for crime. Nearly 20% of the school's 2,000 students were involved in some sort of gang activity. Trouble continued through the coming years, with multiple acts of violence through shootings, various acts of vandalism, and in one very notorious instance, a student, a 14-year-old student, had brought home what I believe was a loaded shotgun and shot and killed his mother.
And he just shot. Every chance he got a chance to shoot again, he shot again. And it's just buckshot holes everywhere. He murdered her. And he didn't do it with sorrow or nothing. He did it like he wanted to do it, like he meant to do it, and he knew what he was doing. He just wanted to hang with the big boys. He joined the gang. He's 6'1", 6'2", 14 years old, hanging around with 20-year-olds. So he wanted to be a big boy, and his mama told him he couldn't. He ran away.
Jesus.
So pretty much the entire time we were outside, or even inside, we would hear loud bangs just happening and echoing throughout the structure. And that was all from the fireworks, which were happening outside for the 4th of July, which was quite frightening. By 2003, hundreds of students have already been eliminated from the high school as Detroit's East population continued to drop. Despite the school receiving nearly $7 million in upgrades and renovation, the school was in severe financial trouble as students continued to drop. And by 2012, the facility finally closed. You have to understand that this school was built for 2,100 students, and by 2010, there were only 878 students enrolled.
The guys told me that the library's just across this hallway here, so I'll do a loop around. Oh my god, it just keeps going on forever. Sealed shut by something. Not sure what.
So after the school's closure in 2012, a few years later in 2014, plans were officially made to turn this building into an urban farm. I say that with quotations because I don't exactly know what that means. I don't know how you turn an entire structure into an urban farm, but what it's described as is being a place where food can be grown and then given to other schools in the school district. So there would be crops in like the back field, and I'm assuming in the courtyards and all that. So I guess it would kind of be a community center of some sorts. But obviously those plans didn't pan out. However, in 2014, there were preparations to have the school being turned into that. There was a perimeter fence built around the entire structure, and security cameras and other security measures were put in place. However, after the district fell into a financial crisis, really, scrappers and vandals found their way into this building. And, I mean, as you can see now, it's absolutely destroyed. This building is pretty much unsalvageable at this point.
Beautiful sunset. Oh, we made it.
Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed my more freehand commentary. I know I don't really do videos like this on this channel, so please let me know if you want to see more stuff like this. This is more of an extra video on the channel. I just came across this footage, like I said, and I wanted to share it with you guys as I found it pretty interesting. But anyway, my name is Jake, and take care.